Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Confessions of an IT Business Owner. We're so excited that you're joining us again. I'm Taylor, back with Ryan. Super exciting episode for you guys with Scott Sanders, who is the CEO of Affordable Technology Solutions, but probably better known for his IT Business Owner Facebook group.
Correct.
We're part of it, and I always like kind of reading through the comments, see what's going on. But he really touches on leveraging online community, and I think that's extremely important. Helping each other out, showing each other how to grow each other's business. That's kind of what makes this community special, I would say.
Absolutely, 100%. And actually, the story on how he got to where he is today is actually really unique. Right. So he had started out doing residential audiovisual AV work, and all of those, a lot of those projects were for business owners, right, in their residences, in their houses. And so they had him come in and do IT for their business. And he started a Facebook group because he just wanted to learn more about the industry, ask advice, but he didn't want to do it with, local potential competitors.
And that's probably a ton of people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So what grew as, getting information for himself and starting a community, it actually brought him into understanding the MSP business model. Instead of just fixing issues, how do you set up your business where you're preventing issues, for those business owners? And so he's got a top tier community inside of the IT service provider MSP space. And I know we're both looking forward to having you guys check out the episode.
Yes. Thanks again for joining, and enjoy.
Scott Sanders, thank you so much for joining us today on Confessions of an IT Business Owner.
Well, I guess that's what they call me. Thanks for having me on the show, Ryan. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with me. This will be fun.
Well, I want to reciprocate that, man. Thanks for you taking your time. You're a busy man. You have a lot of things going on, and I'm looking forward to digging into some of that for our viewers. To kick things off, summer 2021. This is a little bit different than summer of 2020. So do you have any plans as things are opening up and we don't feel like we need to hunker down and huddle down?
Well, I would like to go and take a trip to the beach and the mountains. I'm in South Carolina, so I'm dead in the center of the state. I can go about 2 hours and I'm in the mountains of North Carolina. I can go about 2 hours and I'm at the coast of South Carolina around Myrtle Beach area. So would love to take a week's vacation to either one of those places.
How about 2 weeks? One to the beach, one to the mountains.
I think that sounds really good.
We'll work to figure that out. We can always take that offline. We'll work to plan that. Are you in Raleigh or near Raleigh? I'm gonna make myself sound silly, not understanding my geography.
No, Raleigh's a good distance away. We're about an hour on the other side. Well, on the southern side of Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, which is in the dead center of South Carolina, and then I just run about an hour, and I'm in Charlotte.
I told you I was going to do that with my geography. You're like, maybe look at a map, Mr. Goodman. How about you do that before you ask a question like that? Well, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. We'll move on from summer. We'll plan your vacation here. We'll give us 20 minutes and we'll dig into that. But
that sounds great.
I'd love to have you tell us, what's something that maybe people don't know about you. You're a big face inside of the channel here, right? Not only as a service provider, but hosting a Facebook group, and we'll dig into that. But what's a fun fact?
Well, so back in my younger years, back in 1999 to 2000, I actually worked as an on-air personality, a DJ, for the largest radio station in South Carolina. We were a top 40 station. They're now owned by iHeartMedia, I was an on-air personality for 104.7 WNOK.
You completely channeled 1999 to 2000, even in that pitch. That was incredible. You do have a good radio voice too. Hey, good radio face too. I don't. Sometimes
everybody says I have a face for radio.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, I will get to the point. How did you get started in IT? So,
my father, growing up, I went to school. And when I got out of school, my dad, he just said, "Why don't you come work for me?" So I came to work for my dad in a family-owned business. And my dad was just basically, this was really, Windows 2000 computers were what we put in the business, but
Sure.
he didn't have computers when I came on board. So I helped him to completely automate and go from writing everything down on a pen and with pen and paper and storing it in manila file folders and then alphabetizing them in a filing cabinet. When somebody call you have to go find the file and pull it open and read about it. I've always tinkered around with technology in some fashion. My mom, when I was a kid, she would buy me toys and I would take them apart and reverse engineer them to see how they work. So it was pretty interesting, but I saw the need and I just said, Dad, we've got to get your business into the new century here. Let's, these computers are new, but I think they could really help you. So we implemented Windows 2000 workstations, and so I came in right after Windows. There was still some Windows 98, but we didn't have all of them. All of them were Windows 2000 Professional. So
Sure.
I had taught myself how to work group, just set a simple Windows work group. I came in a little bit after the Novell and Lantastic days and stuff like that. So that's not quite where I was, but I was able to automate everything for him. I was able to get the computers working. And one thing that I realized though I couldn't like fix every problem from a software standpoint, I had one solution that I got really good at. It was wiping the computers clean, backing up the data, erasing the computer, and just building it again. I learned that process and got it down pat. So anytime there was a problem I couldn't fix, I would just wipe the computer clean and get it going. So although I don't do that as often as as often now in my own business with my clients. That's not my number one fix. But back then it certainly was. So I kind of got really proficient at that, and fast forward a few years, my dad gets an offer to sell it. My father retired at 55.
Wow.
So that's always kind of been a goal for me, is to follow my father's footsteps in that aspect. So my father sells the business, and basically he offered it to me, but it wasn't a kind of business that I was interested in. So I just kind of did my own thing, and I stayed on board with the new company, or the new owners of the company, probably 3 months to show them the ropes. I left peacefully. And when I left, I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything lined up. I had looked for jobs and I just couldn't find anything that I felt like, hey, I want to do this. So
Sure.
What I ended up doing was, picking up some odd and end jobs with technology for residential people. So picking up residential clients. My business actually started as a audio video business, my IT business.
Okay.
I only did audio video. But fast forward to 2006, and when the economy dropped, people quit spending $3,000 on televisions and wanting speakers recessed in their ceilings and stuff. So I had always done IT. I always tinkered with my own stuff, especially helping my dad, and I kind of knew how to take care of businesses in that aspect. So a lot of my residential clients, when I'd hook up their televisions or whatever, AV stuff, they would ask me, we've got a computer problem. You don't know anything about computers, do you? And it just kind of naturally evolved. So I started helping them, working with things, getting their technology going, whether it was AV or IT. It was kind of a combination. But it was in the beginning all AV, and then once the economy dropped, it shifted more towards IT. But one of the beautiful things is a lot of people frown on residential, and I don't. I still have residential clients today. I believe in keeping up with the people who put you where you are.
Yeah.
So a lot of those residential clients, they own businesses of themselves. And they came to me and said, Scott, I think you know more than the person we have helping us at our office now. Would you consider, coming to our office and looking at the technology? So it was kind of a natural evolution. And I would say that when the economy dropped in '06, that was just kind of the straw that pushed me out of AV. And now I don't want AV. I wouldn't. I have somebody I recommend that type of work to locally because we're not an AV company anymore. We're all IT.
Okay. So as you've transitioned from, AV into taking on some of those, I would assume, a lot of that you're probably in higher end homes, and you're right, business owners, are going to be, doing those types of projects. And so you had some of the residential IT, business IT. Is there a managed services play for you? Are you break fix? Like, what's the model for you today, and what's the mix inside of your
Okay,
service provider?
so we are a hybrid of managed services as well as break fix. But
Cool.
that's a great intro because I'd love to tell you the story there. So
Sure.
I when I first started, I just realized, in the beginning, keep in mind, I quit a good paying job, and
Yeah.
I didn't have a parachute. So all I was concerned with was I knew one thing: I was good at what I was doing. People liked me. They kept calling me, and they were writing me checks. I was getting
Yeah.
paid, and I was making
Yeah.
more money than I could if I went to work for someone else. So I didn't know anything about managed services. All I knew was, just go in, do your best, do a great
Yeah.
job for them, and they'll continue to call you. So I
Yeah.
always had a slogan when I would leave a customer's. Let's just say their name is Smith. I would
Yeah.
shake their hand. I would say, thank you so much for the opportunity to help you. I hope you've been completely satisfied. And by the way, just call me next time you need me, Mr. Smith. Well,
That's awesome.
guess what I did? I trained over the years my clients to only call me when they need me. That is 100% break fix. So what happened? Yeah, I built up a good break fix business, but I had your clients when you train them, you're their trusted advisor. They believe in you. So it was really hard for me to switch them to a managed environment.
Sure.
So what I have done, like I said, I didn't know anything about managed services. I just knew I ran an IT business and I helped people when they
Yeah.
needed my help.
Yeah.
So, but looking back on it now, every time anybody called, it was a crisis. It was a crisis to the point they were willing to pay my fee to get out of it.
Right.
And you know, I only have one life, and my blood pressure was getting high,
Oh
and
yeah.
I started doing all these things, but then uh, I'm trying to get the time frame here right, but
Sure.
I would go in and do these things, but I also opened up about 6 years ago. I created IT Business Owners Group, and I started it
Yeah.
actually on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn
Okay.
didn't move fast enough for me. It was super slow, and it just wasn't the environment that I was looking to build a community in. It worked at the time because I didn't know any better. I didn't know anything about Facebook.
Right.
So I didn't even have an account with Facebook. I had to use my wife's account, but we got the group started on Facebook 6 years ago, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we were the probably the one of the very first, if not the first, at least one of the very first social media peer groups for IT business owners. And it just kind of made sense to me. I remember talking to my wife saying, I think I'm on to something here. Of course, all my wife saw 6 years ago. We've been married 13 years, just celebrated our 13th anniversary 2 days ago.
Happy
So
anniversary. That's awesome.
thanks. But, she's a doll. She's perfect, and I love her to death. And, thankfully, she had confidence and faith in me because, back then, all she saw was this: you're always on your phone. So,
Right.
but I was building a community, and it was
Hmm.
so hard for her to understand that because, she just felt neglected, and everybody felt neglected. But it's very difficult to moderate and start something of this magnitude. So,
Yeah.
and it was all done organically. So just calling people, and then people, not calling people, but getting people that I had connections
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
and then getting them to get their connections involved. And by the way, you have to be an actual IT business owner to join. So
Yeah.
we vet our people. We want to make sure that you're not just somebody wanting to think about get involved in it, because you're really not going to add value to the community. We want people who are going to add value, who have been down the road, who can help one another out. But, running my own business, the reason I got started in IT Business Owners Group is because running my own business here locally, being a one-man show working out of my house, I quickly realized that, okay, I'm dealing with the public's problems, technical problems. I may not have dealt with that before, but I was actually smart enough to realize I can't. Back then, I think we still had the Yellow Pages and phones. So I was smart enough to realize I can't call my local competitor up the street and say, hey, I'm running into a problem. Have y'all ever seen this before? Or how'd you grow your business? So, but on social media, it was totally different. Everybody wants to help, and it's almost like there's no competition there. So it was kind of a natural evolution. But, once I got that started, I just never really put it down. And it's always been my passion and hobby. I kept telling my wife, I'm going to grow this up and I'm going to bring the vendors involved and included because, yes, it's social media, and I have seen vendors get praised and I've seen vendors get blasted, but we do run a professional community. And, I have reached out to members before and said, look, this is just not appropriate here. I found too, if you reach out to a member and you politely ask them and tell them why you'd like for them to pull their post or comment, typically they will if they're understanding. If they don't, I don't know. We got 4,300 members. I'll just boot them now. So we're at that point. So, but our biggest job though, well, not really job. Our biggest thing is that we want to bring the IT business owners together with the vendors who are creating the products and software that we as IT business owners are pushing and selling in our IT businesses, because it's going to help you that's a vendor actually come up with and create a better product. Even negative publicity is still publicity, and good things happen out of negative things sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful when that happens.
Accountability, right? I mean, there's all of these benefits as a vendor myself. I mean, there are plenty of times I've appreciated, I'd say blunt feedback at times, but you stay sharp because of it, right? I mean, there's a solid level of accountability, that's associated with how business and your clients and partners, how you interact in this digital ecosystem now, right? There's a level of accountability, but I think flipping it and thinking about the opportunity is the way that you really take advantage of it. I mean, because everyone says they want the voice of the customer. Well, here they are. What are you going to do about it?
That's it.
Hey guys, here with a quick break from our show to remind you to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening. If you have suggestions for future episodes or you want to be a guest on the podcast, email us at podcast@connectbooster.com or send us a message on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll be sure to point you in the right direction. Lastly, to find out more about our guests, check out their information in the podcast description. Thanks for listening to the Confessions of an IT Business Owner. Let's get back to the show. You had mentioned a couple of challenges certainly throughout this process. I'm sure one was growing it. What are moderating? I'm sure is another. What are some of the challenges that you deal with, or some of those unknown unknowns that you ran into, as you were building out, your IT business and as you were building out this community?
So that's a two-part question, and I'll start with the first part with my IT business. One of the biggest challenges was, like I said earlier, I had trained my customers to only call me when they need me. I'm their advisor. They trust me, so they feel like already they only need to call me whenever there's a problem. So, getting them to do a 360 and say, look, we're going to actually help you. We want to proactively help you maintain your computer systems, make sure those updates are up to date. And once you explain, to the clients that we have software that will go in and notify us if something's not up to date, we can push that out silently. It won't bother anything you're doing. And, you don't have to worry about clicking, is this legit or not? So, and we kind of subscribe to the all you can eat model a little bit. when it
Sure.
comes to a help desk. Now we bill for new project work, anything that's a move. I think Carl Polachek said it best: a move, change, a move or a change. Typically is project work and billable. So, but if somebody can't get Outlook to open, just call us up. We'll log in remotely and we'll take care of it for you. So that's been the biggest hurdle in my IT business, is getting my customers of 10 years. Well, my IT business is 15 years old. So getting people from the past 10, 15 years, I've been, preaching the same thing to them. Now to see, oh, well, I need Scott just to take care of everything for us in a proactive manner versus reacting. And, one of the things that really helped me in doing that is I would always tell them, look, in the old way of doing things, I always benefited when you were down.
Right. Alignment.
Yeah, you have a problem, you're frustrated, you have to call me in the first place. I don't ever want you to be frustrated to have to call me. So we just want to take care of your issue, and then it's included in your normal fee that you pay. Yeah. So that's all. That's been a big help, is just getting people to see that we're actually going to do what we can to keep you from calling us. If you're still calling us with problems, we're not doing our job right. So that's been I think the whole industry's moving to that. But I will tell you, without my own community, without IT Business Owners Group, Scott Sanders wouldn't have known anything about managed services, and I'd still be running the way I was, a couple of years ago. So
it's so interesting as you went out and, we're looking for that advice, beyond your own community, beyond the yellow pages, and you created this group. All of a sudden, now it's impacting other businesses. It's impacting your business. There's this vendor community that thrives. It's really interesting how those things all come together. I mean, everything that the group is today, was that your intent at the beginning, or is it kind of evolved as this thing has grown?
There's been a lot of evolution, and certainly things have uncovered and happened that I didn't see in the beginning. But I will also tell you that it's always been my goal to get as many people like myself, IT business owners, together in a community where we can talk and share ideas about how we can grow each other's business, not just my own. So, and now it's actually fun, because I'll see people who are just starting. They're actually business owners, but they may be 6 months into it. They've got their web address, they've got their email, but they don't know how to market to people. And one of the things that I like to do is I want to help people not step in the same holes that I did 10, 15 years ago. Because, gosh, my business would be totally different if somebody would have even introduced the concept to me of, recurring revenue, and just getting them to pay you a little bit all the time versus a lot, one time every year or two. So it would have made the biggest difference in the world. But unfortunately, that was something I didn't see in my own IT business. And I think that, my story is probably most like most everybody's story. I certainly have heard about companies who have done the recurring revenue model, and they've been doing it for 10, 15 years. But that just was never on my radar. So I slept through that college course.
Wow. Yeah. No, fair enough. It sounds like you get a lot of fulfillment from being able to, use the group as a conduit for that type of advice too. That's really neat.
It's really nice to see a member come in, like I was telling you, that might be new. They might be just starting out, to get all the good advice, because you're going to get good advice in the group from our community. Whether you like the advice or not, you're going to get good, positive advice. So, that's awesome. It's nice to see them change. And I love when members come back, those kind of members, when they come back and post, maybe, let's say 6 months down the road, hey, I just landed my first managed client. That just brings the biggest smile to my face. I love that.
That's cool. That's super cool. And of course, you have a lot of experienced MSPs in the group as well. What are some of the benefits that you hear from them, in joining a group like yours to be networking with their peers?
Well, there's a lot of benefits when we bring in the sponsors. Well, we've got great discussions, of course, with other IT business owners. It's a great place to bounce ideas. We also do virtual member hangouts from time to time. That we did a lot of those during the pandemic because it was just nice to get a sense of getting out when we were all quarantined.
Right.
We one of the things we try to do as well. I'm not really a big Facebook Live person. Like I don't grab my phone and just jump on Facebook Live and tell people about the hamburger I just ate. That's just I don't know. I just never have gotten into that. But one of the things that I noticed and realized was that I had vendors I'm like anybody else. Vendors would call me and give me a demo. And I realized that, okay, you're giving me this demo over Zoom. If I'm hosting the Zoom, I can go to more, stream to, go to Facebook, and stream it directly to my members. Because one thing that I realized pretty quickly, IT business owners hate getting in potential vendor sales funnels. Right. They just don't want to be harassed. I know I don't. I hate when people call me 20 times in a week and, you just have to ignore it or you just have so much going on. So it just kind of made sense to me. We've got 4,300 IT business owners. We've now got almost 40, I think 42 or 43 sponsors. So awesome. Why not have me, because I'll be the host, why not have me go through and do the demo with the sponsor, and we'll record it and stream it straight into the Facebook group. So that's how I go live. I like to do either fireside chats. I had a really good fireside chat with Marcin Klasinski, the CEO of Malwarebytes. So we streamed there. But the demos and the fireside chats are really well. That's a great thing that we're doing. Now, I will tell you, we record those, and we just started an IT Business Owners Group YouTube channel. So we are trying to promote that as well. So I've uploaded all of the recordings from the previous demos and stuff that we've been doing. So those can be found and rewatched anytime. And we can share those in other places as well for more exposure. But
that's great.
So we've got the live demos, but the other thing that we do is bingo at 2 on Tuesdays. That was a joke, Ryan. No bingo.
You don't have beer and bingo? Where's the popcorn?
We do beer. Those virtual hangouts I was talking about. It's kind of a after hours kind of thing. Bring your own beer and just have some beers and just chill out and talk to other IT business owners. There's no agenda there. It's just however the conversation flows.
Yeah, Beable flows. That's cool. You had mentioned members and member count, and we ran across an article. Jay McBain at Forrester was ranking podcasts in our space, and would love to hear, because you guys ranked really high.
The Facebook groups, So
the Facebook. Yeah,
right.
That's right.
So I think there's like 143 Facebook groups that are channel related, and ours ranked number 3 as far as number of members. So
that's super cool.
I don't know if that's necessarily engagement though, but we have great engagement.
I was gonna say, but you guys are just, there are conversations happening all the time, and it's not just conversations. I mean, they're relevant business conversations, vendor discussions, people trying to vet, the solutions out, vet vendors out and having a conversation. So it's
really cool. Honestly, I can wake up at 3:00 in the morning out of a dead sleep, and most people just stare up at the ceiling fan spinning until they fall back asleep. I usually just grab my phone and I'll lay in bed and just scroll through it. Okay, what have I missed? Because it is worldwide, and just because it's, like they say, it's 5:00 somewhere. So somebody's always, we average, engagement wise, we average between 30 and 50 brand new posts every single day.
Wow. Okay. That's wow.
And I think Facebook tells me that We also average around 30,000 post comments and reactions in every 28 days.
Wow.
So I keep up with those numbers. That's my job, to make sure that
Yeah,
we keep the analytics up and we keep our numbers high.
keeping engagement up. Now, we had talked a little bit, about the vendor community, the introduction there. How do vendors get involved? What's that process? And are there rules? What does that look like for a vendor as well? I know, man, me and my two-part questions.
No, you're fine. So the community is free for anyone. If you're on Facebook, just go to facebook.com/groups. You can get to it two places, /groups, then ITBOG, or /groups IT Business Owners Group. If you spell it, you can spell it out or go to it. So you just need a Facebook profile, and then just answer our vetting questions, and we'll let you in, whether you're a vendor or if you're an IT business owner. But you have to fall into those two categories. And we do vet and verify. So as long as you pass our vetting process, then you're in. But if you'd like to engage in the community, so this is my job. We're trademarked now. I've been through the whole rigmarole. I've trademarked the letters ITBOG. I've trademarked the logo. And we have been sponsored now for, I think, 2 years. So our whole thing is, it's not fair to our paying sponsors that that anybody just come in and join the group and just start spamming the group and stuff. And our sponsors are great. They don't even spam the group. I have to reach out sometimes and say, hey, you hadn't posted in a while. Can we share anything to the community? So it's been really good, because I think a lot of people in the beginning, when I first introduced that we were going to be sponsoring, let's face it, I'm not charging the members. So I'm doing all this for free. I had to make it a business and generate some income. So that's what we've chosen to do. But the sponsors have been great. If you want to see the current sponsors, you can always go to our website, itbog.org/sponsors. And that'll always take you there. I'm taking some of that sponsor money, and I'm actually having a cruise as well, our first ITBOG member-only cruise.
That's awesome.
It was scheduled in 2000, but COVID I won't say we ever canceled it, because we didn't. But COVID is making us postpone it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And is that the place for vendors to engage if they want to be a sponsor? Go to that website. Is that the easiest?
Yeah, they just need to send me an email address, or send us. It's support, SUPPORT, at itbog.org. Support at itbog.org. That's the best way. But I have had people reach out to me on Messenger, LinkedIn, anyway they want to communicate. But I'll get it the fastest and respond the fastest from support at itbog.org.
Cool. And in closing, what are some of the changes? What are some of the ways that you see online activity, changing in the next 12 months, 24 months?
Well, I've been doing this a long time, and it seems that there's all kind of new Facebook groups opening up. When I read Jay McBain's article that there was 143 in the channel, I'm like, when did that happen? But it just seems like there's always going to be new groups opening up. Of course, my focus is on my own channel, so I don't really engage in other communities. I have a sole purpose when I get onto Facebook, and it's to engage my audience. But as far as where do I see IT Business Owners Group going in the future, we would love to actually get the membership into more of an association base. So we'd love to actually formalize it a little more than everybody just thinking of IT Business Owners Group as a social media group.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. Well, Scott, any parting words for our audience today that you want to get out there outside of us? We're going to go plan your vacation here in the next 20 minutes, right?
Well, any parting words? Join IT Business Owners Group. Send us a request, and let us know. Let us know if you like it, and give us ideas. Let us know how we can make a better community for you.
That's awesome. And I can tell you, being involved, a lot of value. So it's a cool community. You guys need to check it out. And Scott, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I mean, that's great. You're a busy guy, and so to capture these moments are super valuable, and want to thank you for that.
No, thank you for the invite. I'm glad to have been a part of it. Thanks, Ryan.
That's great. Talk to you soon, sir.